So while we're driving, I was checking Facebook to see kind of what was going on at home in Florida. Since we're so far away, I like to keep up with what's happening there. And I came across a bunch of pictures from the Fort Walton Police Department showing how bad the flooding has been there. This was in the last 24 hours. You can see you got cars there, businesses here, whole entire intersection just underwater. And then cars, obviously, but the downside here, these are homes here. Where we are now, we definitely have no chance of flooding anytime soon. Like, it is dry as all get out here, which is good, because when we have other problems we need to deal with, which we'll later upload it, show you guys what's going on. But the house is there in Fort Walton County. The fact that that is in Florida, and Florida is doing really...
Fort Walton County?
Fort Walton...
Is it Fort Walton County?
I don't know. No, Fort Walton's not.
It's still Okaloosa.
It's still Okaloosa County. Fort Walton in Okaloosa County. What sucks for them, because it's not just them that's going to get hit. I'm sure that storm went in other places. I just happened to follow Fort Walton Police Department on Facebook. I'm sure what sucks for these homeowners is the fact that Florida insurance has been wonky lately. I don't even know if it's just Florida, but like plenty of places, their insurance, their homeowners insurance, flood insurance, things like that. I wonder if these houses are going to be covered.
Well, Citizens.
Okay, so that's the insurance company that's been, is Citizens?
Citizens was the last resort, but homeowners insurance doesn't include flooding.
Yes, so I talked about this before on my channel. Homeowners insurance does not include flooding. You have to have specific flood insurance. And if your home is in an area they don't deem floodable, they won't even give you flood insurance. And with the way the weather's been going lately, and the places that have been flooding, that generally speaking should not have an issue with that, the fact that you can't get flood insurance even in areas that do flood is kind of a problem.
And if you can, you got to realize that now it's going to go up.
Oh yeah, it's definitely going to go up. The more places that are flooding, the more insurance companies are going to be like, hey, listen, there's a lot of, iffy things going on with the weather. There's a lot of flooding in areas it shouldn't be. There's a lot of extra flooding in areas where we expected it, but now it's worse. It's happening too often or too severe. They're not going to want to cover everything because the cost of materials is going through the roof. The cost of labor is going through the roof. So what would have cost an insurance company $10,000 to fix, 2 years ago, now maybe they're at $25,000 to fix. And for them, it's going to end up being a loss in the long run if that many homes get flooded and have to rely on their insurance to fix it with their flood insurance.
You think people are going to leave because of this? Or try to leave?
So I don't know that people would try to leave Florida, especially if other states are going to follow suit with the whole, no flood insurance, because of Vermont, basically so many areas there underwater, New York having the same issues, even all the way up into Canada with flooding. In Ontario, there was a lot of flooding and tornadoes, weirdly. But there's going to be more and more states, not just Florida, where the insurance companies are like, listen, you're not going to get flood insurance. You better hope you don't live in an area where there could potentially be a flood. And it used to be, okay, well, I won't live near a lake. I won't live near the ocean. I won't live near a river. I won't live near, a dam or a reservoir or whatever else. But now it's, you can't even live where streets might accidentally overflow because the city isn't taking care of the streets with the runoff issues.
And the storm drains.
And everything else. So you never know what's going to flood at this point in time with how heavy rains have been lately.
And they're also making the condo owners get flood insurance no matter what floor they're on.
Which is a little bit ridiculous. I want to say that maybe that's so that it's not so expensive for the people on the bottom floor, and so that people on the bottom floor will buy on the bottom floor. Does that make sense to you? That's the only thing I can think of, is they're like, share the pain with everybody in the building so that all the floors in the building will get purchased. But why should the person on the 40th floor, there's not that many that close to the ocean, we'll say 20th floor. Why should the person on the 20th floor pay the same amount as the person on the first floor, knowing good and damn well that the person on the 20th floor, yours is not going to flood unless it's the biggest hurricane in the history of hurricanes, but they're going to use your insurance somehow. How does that work?
Take your premium to pay for everybody else's.
Your premium to pay for everybody else's claims. Yeah.
But then also, if you have a claim or if you're self-insured, that's going to be a lot of money to get repaired. But now it's interrupting your short-term vacation rental. If it's investment property, it's going to interrupt your longer-term rental for the snowbirds that won't be able to utilize it because odds are you probably won't get it fixed in time.
I do remember we talked to somebody, and I can't remember who it was. We talked to somebody who had flood damage in their home, and because they went through their insurance, their flood insurance, and they paid the real estate agent. He paid the deductible. They fixed the stuff, and then they dropped him.
It was a plumbing problem that caused the flood.
It was a plumbing problem that caused the flood. Oh yeah, and he paid his deductible and used his insurance, and they dropped him immediately after that. And he's like, "What the actual?" And then he could not get new ones for 3 years. He couldn't get a new insurance for 3 years. So any issues that would have occurred, he had to pay out of pocket. Then the next time there was an issue after he got new insurance, he's like, I'm scared to use the insurance because what if they drop me too? And then the deductible is so high now, it just makes more sense to pay for it out of pocket and get it done. So then, like, what's the point in insurance if every single time you have to rely on the insurance that you've been paying into? They either screw you by dropping you completely or screw you by upping your payments, your premium. What are they there for? Except for to bleed you dry every single month for however long.